Rome was not built in a day. That's for sure true, yes. But also, Alexander the Great did not spend days beating his biggest battles. Those things happen pretty quickly. When you want to win fast.
Welcome to Opportunity Knocks. I'm your host, Todd Patton, and let me tell you, I'm all the way in Miami Beach, and we got a special guest. Listen, I don't drive to Miami Beach unless it's somebody special, and today's guest is a special man. Luke, my man, how are we, man? So good to have you here.
I'm doing very well, and thank you for having me.
Yes, man, this is awesome having you. And, I want everybody to know your backstory because I got to know it. Look, we've only known each other for a couple weeks now.
True.
And we're going to talk about that incredible class you put together. But I want to get your backstory. So take me back to a young Luke. How did you get started? How did you get started as an entrepreneur? Give me your backstory.
Sounds good. So when I was very young, I was a little baby in Japan, born to Korean parents. And so I was kind of an outsider or a third party from when I was little. And 13 years later, I moved from Asia to America. So I was an immigrant and I learned English as a second language. But at a certain point, I became better at English, funnily enough. But after 3 years of being a delinquent, which I was, I had a 1.7 GPA. They tried to put me in special ed. It was crazy.
Wait, 1.7 in high school?
Yeah.
You got me beat by 0.2.
Yeah, this
I had a 1.
It was bad. Yeah, my mom thought, everything was over.
And where was that in? What city?
So that was in Southern California,
okay.
Orange County. A lot of Koreans.
OC.
Yeah. So, but I kind of pulled myself together, studied really hard for the SAT, and that's when I first showed myself, oh, you can be somebody. Because I got a 99%, and I didn't think I would. And so that's really how I got into Berkeley. People think I got into Berkeley because I'm a genius. That's not true. I applied to like 27 or 29 different schools with fee waivers because I was low income. And I got into a few good ones.
So undergrad Berkeley.
Yeah. But Brown rejected me, Harvard rejected me, all the Ivy Leagues. So when people don't get into these places, I want to tell them, hey, it's not the end of the world. Mm-hmm. And by one stroke of luck, I could have also never achieved my dreams. But
that's
at that
awesome.
point,
And do you credit Berkeley? Because a lot of times, that's an argument people can make all the time. College, is it worth it? Is it this? You're saying you got a lot out of that education at Berkeley.
Sort of. So when I went to Berkeley, it was a pro and a con. Because at the time, I was financially independent, and that's why I started to be a solopreneur. And the funny thing is, when you're financially independent, in public school, paying your way through, you got to work to make it happen.
Sure.
So I wanted to get a double major, a triple major. I wanted to do a lot of fellowships, but I just didn't have the time. And that was the impetus to be entrepreneurial. Is I spent a year doing crazy stuff, like working night shifts for various jobs, security, because I did martial arts. I served ice cream, bartended, bar backed, cleaned the gym, was an admin, a secretary, many things.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
And that's while you're studying at one of the toughest schools.
Yeah, 100%. The first year was all that. And I also pledged a fraternity. Yeah, Theta Chi, UC Berkeley. So it was crazy. And that's why at the end of the freshman year, I saw all my friends go to the fan companies. Like everybody wanted to get really high intern salaries, live really great summer lives, and then have basically a guaranteed job at the end. But for me, I had never seen the world in the way I wanted to. Mm-hmm. Sure with parents, but not by myself. Mm-hmm. So my objective was to get out there, get exposed, and get hurt. This might sound weird, but I thought I need to get out there and just see what actual storms are like. Nobody becomes a sailor in the training ground.
Be at that age and that stage in your life and to realize that's awesome. I love hearing that because usually that happens when you're older and you're a little bit more wise. But to be young, that had to be an influence on somebody in your life. Is it a parent? Is it both parents?
You're spot on, man. Spot on. So, there's a sad part and a happy part. So the happy part is that my mom's always been very supportive, and she always encouraged me to be expansive and go global. So I always had it in my brain that why not work in Estonia? How come I can't work in France, for example? But at the time, I was also running away from pain because I had a tumultuous childhood, and at the time, my father and my mother split. And some things had happened, so I just thought, okay, I don't have mentorship, I don't have family, I don't have something that I can hold on to here. And I need to join a fraternity to build brotherhood with other men. I need to get mentors who can teach me how to be a good man, honorable. And I need to go to the world because I'm not going to get mentorship from like my dad or my society here.
Wow.
I need to go find new dads.
Yeah, for recognizing that.
Yeah, totally.
and seeing that. So that's the Theta Chi, you said.
Pretty much, yeah. And eventually, I became president, joined the alumni board. I took that whole family thing to another level. But yeah, I would say it was healthy for me.
So now you graduate Berkeley and you end up in another country.
Estonia, Tallinn.
So how did that happen?
So actually, we should clarify something.
Yeah.
So during college, I would spend summers and some parts of the year in Europe mostly. That's
Okay.
where I built my career. So in the beginning, I worked for an Estonian firm in Estonia. Then I helped them expand into France and Portugal and Italy. So therefore, I went to those places. And after
How
college,
did you do this in college? Like, how did somebody give you an opportunity to say, yeah, come and work with me?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So I sat across the table like this from the president of an Estonian startup and asked him, I'm 18, but I want to be the head of your North America sales. Yeah.
And this is when you're in college still.
In college, yeah. And I don't even know how to tell this story. Let me give you the full story if that's okay.
Yes, please,
Yeah.
please.
So after I joined Theta Chi, I was invited to the Center for Entrepreneurship at Berkeley, in which the head was also a former Theta Chi from Berkeley. He sat me down and he was like, hey, I see a leader in you and I want you to develop. Why don't you come abroad with me this year? And so the program was full, but he got me in. And I was able to go to this Estonian boot camp for entrepreneurs.
Let me pause you for 1 second. That's an opportunity knocking right
It is
there.
an opportunity knocking.
So you took advantage of it. You joined a fraternity, which obviously you made that happen. But then somebody saw something in you. A lot of people would have been intimidated by that and might have said, you said, no, I'll do that. I'll go out there. Awesome. I love it.
But you
Keep
need
going.
compatriots and tribesmen. So I talked a roommate into this. We swept his dad's credit card. We paid him back, of course, but we just did it because we knew this is the evening, this is the night that we make a call, and and unless you have that chutzpah, you're not going to get there.
Right.
So we paid the fee, we went. Yeah, but
So cool, man.
That's how it happened.
What an
but
amazing story. Wow.
in Estonia,
Yeah.
like what I knew was this program's new, and if it's a good program, then I could sell it. Because what they want to do is turn it into an official study abroad at UC Berkeley and make it more of an anchor at the school. And they're going to need an internal agent to sell this. A student selling to students is always more powerful.
And
So
they
I had
didn't
an
have a
edge.
presence in North America.
No,
Right?
no. And so it was year 2 when I would be joining. So ultimately what happened is I did well in the boot camp. I went on stage and I placed and it was good. I showed up early in the morning every day. I was the first person at that boot camp every day. And so the whole team knew me. At that point they were like, who's this kid? Why is he so motivated? And I
Yeah.
told them, look, I placed on your stage in your program. I did really well based on the mentors you brought in. I am from UC Berkeley, where you want to turn them into the anchor client, and you want to triple, if not quadruple, students next year.
I'm hungry.
I am writing you a testimonial from
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
will sell, and I can even recruit people. I'm a fraternity leader.
I love
manage
that.
people.
I created my own testimonial for you.
So
I love
these
that.
guys are like, okay, well, I mean, you are 18, you do not speak Estonian, but you do speak English, and you would grind it out, So the deal was that I would get 10% of all revenue from the entire North American continent at the end of the year. Yeah, it was good.
Did they offer that to you?
No. I asked for it. I said I needed 10% revenue. I also said I needed an internship at their head corporate sponsor, Amadeus. It's the world's largest travel IT corporation. I also wanted the internship to be in the research and innovation department, which traditionally has never given internships. So I wanted something that does not exist. But the CEO of this company and the innovation head over there had a relationship, so I knew it was possible. And then a few other things.
10%. No, did you consult with fraternity brother? Did you talk to anybody saying that's a ballsy? You mentioned that's 10%. I want of North.
Yeah, so that was fearlessness. It wasn't courage.
Yeah.
I think there's courage, which is you've had scars and you've been battle tested, and now you've learned to negotiate fear. There's fearlessness, which is it is your first rodeo. You probably suck, but if you're 1 out of 10 people who really step up, then you're gonna win something. So it was fearlessness. It was not courage.
Man.
Yeah.
I love that. And then how did that turn into, was there an end game to that, or how did it? Because you're still a college student. So
Yeah, totally.
how did you? What was next?
So during college, I spent my time selling this program. I also spent my time working for a City Innovate Foundation, which was a foundation at the time, startup, that was trying to help mayors procure tech and source tech. And so I thought I need to get into the public sector game because civic innovation is somewhat of a passion for me. And my major was in political economy. I studied the transition of Estonia from the Soviet Union into the Estonian state. So I was
That's
very passionate.
making sense now.
Yeah,
All
about
right.
bringing capitalism
Very
into
cool.
socialism and communism, helping people to achieve. I thought at a national scale, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's funny how now it's at an individual scale, I help
Uh-huh.
people do this in their lives. But that's what happened is during college, I worked for a few different startups, always did side gigs, made money, and then afterwards started a company.
Did you do well with that relationship with Did you with the 10%? Was it a good?
Yeah. So that job kept going for me for about 3 years. I trained up the new sales staff, transitioned my relationships. To this day, I believe it's the largest study abroad at UC Berkeley ever. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this, but
awesome.
Yeah, in my anchor years, we had like 90 to 100 students signing up.
How cool is that? That you were a big part of building that, and being the founding. Like that's what an awesome accomplishment.
It is, but I think as we talked about earlier, adversity sometimes draws out the best in you or reveals your character. It might not build character, but it reveals your character.
That's right.
You know, it just worked out. It turns out I had what it takes. But I do caution people against making big decisions too fast or making big bets before small bets, because I don't think it's generally a good idea to be financially independent or to choose to be an entrepreneur or solopreneur or to go abroad for work, things like that. The right decision was for me to actually go apply to Facebook for an internship and become a program manager.
So that's where I want you to take me now. So now you're back home, well, San Fran, right? And age is what? You're in your early 20s? And then you see an opportunity where? Is it Facebook?
Actually, so so after graduating college, I applied to a bunch of different FAANG companies and corporations. Funnily enough, multiple invited me to interview for very specialized, high-level rotational programs. So it's as if they saw something in my resume, but nobody hired me. And so I remember thinking, oh, is there something wrong with me? Or am I too entrepreneurial?
Were you doing interviews? Were you actually?
Yeah. And the interviews went very well, too. Yeah. I remember even at LinkedIn, they did something savage, which is they lined up these candidates for a very, very specialized program, and they pulled all of our LinkedIns. And it turned out that my LinkedIn connections and activities were much higher than anybody else in the room, including the staff.
That you look feeling good then.
Yeah, but, you know, I also thought I had a shoe in, I'll get in for sure, and that was not true. Yeah. I think I actually did speak in a way that was too entrepreneurial. Yeah. My first question to the sales interviewer was, hey, what's the growth potential? How fast can I reach the top? Like, what's the maximal level of hustle to reward you can give me?
You have that entrepreneurial.
You know, I mean, yeah, these are not questions you ask in a corporate.
No. That's,
you know, they want you to stick around and pay your dues, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I was basically asking, like, how can I take over your job, you know?
You know, it's interesting, though. Do you think that's changed from back then, where now companies like Amazon that have so many spin-offs to the company itself, do you think they look for people like that now? Don't you think that's a good quality where maybe, you know, I don't know, 15 years or whatever that was, it wasn't so much, but I don't know. I think it's changed a little, don't you?
It has changed. Companies are looking more for that entrepreneurial energy, but ultimately I think companies need employees. And I'll be straight up with you. If I built a bigger and bigger and bigger company, then I would always want more and more and more employee mentality people. I don't want entrepreneur mentality in my employee class. No way. Right? So even I wouldn't hire me if it was a normal process pushing role. But parachuting is good. I think if there was a big corporation with an innovation unit, a venture unit, things like that, a skunkworks unit, whatever, those things usually don't work when you promote internally. And so that's when people like me parachute in.
Got it. Oh, that's good.
So I'd be open to that kind of thing, sure.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So keep going with this. I'm loving this, by the way. This journey is awesome. So now you're LinkedIn didn't work, and then where'd you land next?
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you the failure story because that's just, I think it's always more interesting than showing off.
Yeah.
What happened is I got into a toxic relationship. It was really hard. I was living in the Tenderloin in San Francisco in an apartment where you can actually hear gunshots. I thought there was something that was glorious about that because I was working in public sector and I wanted to experience the real world. But not a good decision. You know, don't try to live poor just because you want to experience something. And at the time, I was running a co-working space, a public sector innovation program, a corporate innovation program, and also a White House partnership, believe it or not, at the UN building in San Francisco. So technically, our foundation.
Were you in the UN?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, our company. We were about 4 or 5 people at the core level, and we were the first and only ones to ever stand up an innovation lab in a federal building. We had 18F next to us, which is a federal hacker force, and then we had the National Security Innovation Network, the U.S. Digital Service. Like, we were just there having lunch together, and it was an environment where you would need to check your passport every day to get in. I remember I was hosting Swiss dignitaries, like straight up Swiss state level delegation, and they forgot their passports, so we had to send them home. Yeah, so it was that kind of environment for a bit. But at the time, people thought it was glorious, because I mean, there's a picture of me in a ribbon cutting with Mayor Ed Lee of San Francisco, and like 3 or 4 mayors from Europe.
And you're a young kid. You're
yeah,
22.
But the thing is, I was making nothing as a contractor, no benefits either. I was straight broke. I was still in debt, you know. And at the time, I actually had a layoff as well towards the end of my first year out of college. And so, yeah, that's another reason why I began my second solopreneurship journey, I would say, is I realized, oh, in this situation, I might go homeless. And so what's the right thing to do? Either get a job or find a job, right? Like find demand or meet supply. So yeah,
and then what was the decision? What did you do?
I called up an old CEO and told my story. She empathized and she said, if you're good at marketing, come to Portugal and help me with something. I flew over, got an apartment for 300 euros a month that was cockroach infested. It had a prison cot for a bed, for real. And if you've seen Parasite, there's something called a half basement where half your window is like on the street, and there's little, you know, guardrails or something like that. So that was one of those. I had 3 roommates in very tight quarters.
Didn't know them, or
no, I didn't know them, and that was where I built my first company. I mean, I budgeted out my euros to buy kebabs. Like that's how tight the budget was.
But you were working for a company.
Yeah.
So that was.
It wasn't employee status. I wanted that contractor gig because in the back of my mind. So what happened was this company was running a big program for talented people, designers, engineers, whatever. So my intention was to go there, meet the best, and hire them for my consultancy. Awesome. So that was the mission. Fly to Europe, have budget for a month, hire the best people.
1 month. You're there and meet, network, connect with the right people.
Yeah, and within the next 5 months after that, I took these guys to Korea and then to Switzerland. Yeah, on contracts.
Wow. Amazing. So that was your first big, and you mentioned adversity. Was the adversity that you dealt with that living there for those 30 days? Was that the tough means of living in a...
Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, there was adversity everywhere. But to be honest with you, when you ask about adversity, sometimes I find it hard to follow because I think my level of comfort has reached the point where I don't need so much. And I've elevated my taste for things. And of course, I enjoy a little bit more expensive things nowadays. But that doesn't mean that my level of comfort needs to get any higher. I think it's very valuable to come from a place where you've had nothing, you know, and you've actually fucked up and you've been fucked. Like, that is the word to use, really.
I love it, man.
You know, if somebody has not gone out and got hurt,
yeah.
Like if I see, you know, like a soldier with no scars, that's the same feeling I get from someone who does business who's had no stories, you know, no risks, no heartbreaks. So, and I especially don't like it when people come onto these podcasts and start showing off and, you know, sell their PhD from like 10 years ago as the reason they're smart forever. Or say I had one exit in one industry in one business and that's why I'm good at business forever in every way. Or people who come here and say I had one graph spike, you know, in my portfolio of investments and therefore I'm like a genius investor. In no way, man.
And
you know?
And you're 100% right. And those are the ones where it's why I love hearing the underdog story of like, hey, I got knocked down. I mean, look, Rocky. Rocky as a movie, we love Rocky. We don't we don't like the, you know, and Karate Kid's another one, you know. We don't like Johnny who beats everybody up and he wins everything. We want the Ralph Macchio, you know. We root for the underdog, and it's just and look, athletes. Look at Tiger Woods, you know. I mean, there's nobody that was more down than Tiger Woods, right? And his story of coming up, it's like, I don't know. We love that. And I like that too. That we come together and say, let's root for this person. Let's see what it is when they get on top. And there's nothing like that with an entrepreneur, right? So speaking of entrepreneur, your class is phenomenal. And I don't want to jump too far ahead. If there's anything we're missing, I do want to spend some time talking about this because there is a ton of value in this, and you packed it in a short time, so you don't have to spend half a year. You really get a 4-year education in 2 weeks. You know, it's amazing. But I don't want to jump too far ahead. Is there anything in that journey which has been incredible of yours that you want to add into that, as far as, you know, being an investor, you know, getting in and different things? I'd love to hear more of that journey. But I do want to talk about this this class that you put together. Yeah.
Then let's segue nicely then.
Yeah.
So. Okay, let me, I did want to share some tactical things that might help your audience, because my knowledge is that this is called opportunity knocks, and people want to learn how to knock on opportunity as well. So in that sense, how do you do that? I think a lot of people kind of opine about how they've made it to this point, but strategically, not tactically. So tactically speaking, I do think you got to force some kind of serendipity in the world. You got to force and engineer your opportunities. I don't believe that opportunity is given, it's taken, for sure. So in that sense, how do you make it all happen? The number one thing is speed is both probably your biggest solution and also problem. those who don't have speed end up going stale or getting stuck, and that's so sad. I think people who have talent, generally they have moments of inspiration, which if they do not activate and trigger immediately, then it goes away. So you see geniuses of the world, including Einstein, who are known for writing notes during their sleep. I do that too. And the reason is not because it's so nice to wake up and write notes. It's because if you lose that inspiration, the juice is gone.
Yes.
So when there's inspiration or when there's time,
Act.
even if it's a couple minutes, yeah, just act. And I do believe that when you're facing an enemy, and I know business is not battle, but when you're facing an enemy, is it not good to fire always? Even if you misfire, you should just fire. And the thing is, sure, you don't want to signal where you're at, what you're shooting, things like that. But at the same time, in my opinion, the net result should be that you fired so much that your misses taught you so much. Your misses make you miss less. And your successes, your hits, taught you so much as well. You hit more now.
I love this.
You know?
I love it.
Like speed. Only fire.
Let me
you know?
touch on this more because this is
Yeah.
super important, and I know you touched on this during the class. I'm going to give it a real life scenario. All right. So I'm listening to this podcast. I want to start a business. I've never started a business. When you say speed, is this what you're talking about? All right. I'm thinking of, I got to put a logo together. Okay. Let me take this logo. You know what? Let me spend 2 weeks on finalizing this logo. No.
Yeah.
You want to say, just don't worry about the logo.
Yeah, go to Brandmark, get 1,000 options in 2 seconds.
Boom.
You know?
That's, I'm so glad you're saying this. So I work with a lot of small businesses, and I think the biggest fault that I've seen is they spend so much time on the minor things. I'll give you an example. I'm building a website, let's say, for a small company, and I want to tell them stop. But as a business, they're my clients, so I have to be kind of cautious, especially when I just started my company. I needed every dollar to come in.
Gotta be nice.
Yeah, and I want to be very nice. But they would say, can you move the logo down a quarter of a centimeter, and then a little bit to the right? And I'm saying to myself, does this really matter to building a business? But that's what people are spending their time on. So correct me if I'm wrong. When you say speed, you're talking about that too, right? Like,
yeah.
Hey,
it's the analysis paralysis you can get into, and it's the failure to lubricate your own gears. But let me bring this more into reality for maybe people looking at this podcast. So first of all, if you want to be a venture-backed entrepreneur, don't raise seed funding for 6 months to a year. That's not even a plan. You know, raise seed funding, finish it in 2 months to 3, or else there's a cool kids table and you won't be invited. You know?
Time up, back up. Say that again now. Explain that again.
So if you're trying to raise funding for a startup, right? And you want to raise pre-seed or seed funding, oftentimes I see people planning for a long-term future that extends beyond the financial quarter, which fundraising is not doing business. Fundraising is not building nor selling. Fundraising is pre-planning. So when people tell me, oh, we're planning for like a half-year fundraise, I already know they're losers. You know, same with solopreneurs. They're like, well, I'm going to give myself a month to come up with an idea, maybe another month after that to get my website in order, a month to validate and get feedback, a month to have my logo and branding and reach out to partners. I'm over here thinking half a year later, you don't even have a business. What's going on? I want things to happen within the week. I don't even know if there's going to be a global war in the next 3 months. Mm-hmm. How do I bet on you or any industry or any asset or anything at all beyond 3 months?
Change in
and so, when people say, Rome was not built in a day, that's for sure true, yes. But also, Alexander the Great did not spend days beating his biggest battles. You know, those things happen pretty quickly. You know, when you want to win fast, you know? And have you ever seen a boxing match where there's like a slow jab, and the guy wins? No. Even if there's a jab game being played, at the end you see a flurry, a combo, some intensity.
Mike Tyson's a good example.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just so everybody's clear, pre-seed, seed, I know you know that space really well, but if somebody doesn't know anything about raising money and doing this, explain just give like a basic overview of how that would work if somebody wanted to raise money or get funding. When you say pre-seed and
okay, let me try to. Okay, perfect. So if you got an idea, there's generally 2 ways to go. First way is to get investors. Second way is to bootstrap. Bootstrapping is my suggestion, and that's what you can do as a solopreneur or an indie hustler. What that means is you can prioritize for profit more than growth and get real customers. Even if it's not your prime motive, you still get customers and do a business. On top of which, you can raise funding and go to VC saying, look, the ideal customer persona enjoys my service. I want to build a product on top, and there's a captive audience. In fact, here's our cloud computing bill, and we can't pay it because we have so much demand. Can you help us?
And you're saying
for venture capitalists, that is a dream scenario.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right.
But ultimately, as an entrepreneur, or should I say a solopreneur, you would have a choice then, right? Because you've bootstrapped a business. Do I like these terms? Do I enjoy this venture capitalist? Do I even need this money to scale or grow? Your terms are under your control. Now, if you go the investment route off the bat, that's dangerous.
And how does that work? You're basically selling an idea on paper?
Kind of. So I have a lot of friends in the venture-backed entrepreneurship game, and I've done this before as well, on both sides, investing and startuping. The issue is, if you go at an early stage today, currently, here's a market standard, is you and me could make a deck, build a nice team, go to the Silicon Valley VCs and say, we want to get seed funding. Let's say we're so good at pitching and we raise like $2 to $3 million, which is possible. We'd be giving away 30% of the company off the bat. Now, we can negotiate it in a way that makes it safe and good for all, but the chance of your cap table, your capitalization table getting messed up is so high. And for venture-backed entrepreneurs who raise too much too early, they gotta justify hypergrowth. They gotta show hypergrowth, or else the math makes no sense for entrepreneurs and also VCs. So there's these zombie startups that did this exact thing, and now even the CEOs know, well, I could make an exit and it's gonna be okay, but I won't become rich, and this is just a zombie company right now. I take my salary, but there's no dream anymore because the cap table is messed up. Now, the other thing is, if your cap table is messed up and you have failed to time the fundraising correctly, then later on you get a down round. A down round is when you negotiate with the venture capitalist for more funding, and they actually think your valuation is lower. When that happens, all your previous VCs, your angels even, people are gonna leave, right? Your key employees are gonna say, wow, this has no potential anymore, I'm gonna go away.
It's going the wrong way. And your reputation now, right?
So that's why, I know I'm going on and on, but that's why I really believe, build something real, help people, find an ideal customer persona, use speed, be a solopreneur, prove yourself, then go for investment or not. But I don't think going for venture-backed entrepreneurship in the beginning is a good idea.
And this is coming from an expert. This guy he's done it. He's been there. So I love this, man. And this is actually a perfect segue to your class. Which let's first explain entrepreneur, solopreneur. Like, what's the difference? I mean, obviously, solopreneur is by yourself, but dig a little deeper into what it is. Because somebody would say, "Oh, I'm going to start a company." Oh, you're going to be an entrepreneur. What's the difference between a solopreneur and an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I used to think an entrepreneur was somebody who raised funding to do a tech company, straight up. I didn't even think of small business owners, agency founders, nobody. Tattoo artists. I just thought you raise funding and do tech. That's what I thought entrepreneurship was. In the global ecosystem today of business, that is the case. When people say entrepreneur at a conference, what you're really talking about is venture-backed, unicorn building, billion-dollar valuation seeking people. Solopreneurs are completely different. In my view, solopreneurs are like the indie hustlers of the world.
You said indie?
Indie, like independent filmmakers.
Oh, okay, got it.
Indie hustlers. And it's very similar to the concept of indie hackers. Indie hackers is very popular among developers and designers especially. But there's people who wonder, why do I need to work for 5 to 10 years to return venture capitalists their money? Why do I need to make my company my religion? Like, why do I need to commit to one thing and one thing only, right? There's people who question these models that I've been taught. And how come the best thing in the world is to get funding from A16Z, or to get the best valuation possible? I have friends that back in the day in college would show off about which VC they got funding from and how high a valuation. But to me, that just sounds like you owe a lot more money, don't you?
You put yourself in a hole.
Yeah, I mean, that's really dangerous. What are you showing off about?
Yeah.
Show off about profit.
Yeah. Because you're not seeing any of that money. That money that goes, I mean,
what's going on right now? Yeah. These kids are like, oh, I raised like $3 million. That means you got to bring back $3 million and a lot more.
Yeah.
Soon.
And your percentage went way down.
Yeah, soon. And so if you don't, then people they would not trust you for the rest of your career.
And so when, I guess, you start off as a solopreneur and you build that you get the clients, like you said, proof. I guess it's proof positive. This works. At that time, do you even need to get that funding? Is there a time when getting that funding makes sense? And when is that?
Totally. So I love that you asked this. Let's say that you and me start a solopreneur business together. So let's say we're duopreneurs. Nah, solopreneurs. Two solopreneurs, co-conspiring. But let's say we become the thought partners we always wanted and we start something. I think the smart move is not to build a solopreneur business, then raise straight up on top of it. I think it is to spin out, because a solopreneur business is a great way to test our partnership. It's a great way to test our working relationship. It's also a great way for us to make a really nice living that fits our lifestyles.
And keep 100%.
100%.
Yeah, keep the...
And when that happens, why would we share it with investors?
Right.
Like, why would we bring people into the fold? We wouldn't.
So
we would just take that and spin out. Create a new entity.
A what?
Create a new entity.
That's a similar model to that.
No, create a new entity with you and me as partners.
Just a completely different...
Yeah. But this company does a product, not a service. For example.
Okay.
So we build, let's say our ideal customer persona is lawyers in litigation. We can build a community of like 2,000 people. We can also give them a service to run peer groups for them and help them. But if they say they want a product, we build what they want, get VCs, and make a new company with a nice cap table.
You know, I told you when we came here, when you came into Sprinter, I said, I love this because I'm like a sponge. I learned so much from just smart minds, and this is teaching me something. So thank you for that. And I'm gonna kind of role play with you on One Home, on my business that I'm building, which is this app. So my end user is, well, it's two. It's the homeowner who's going to use the app. That's not a client of mine. But then there's the companies, the vendors. You know, the AC, the plumbing company, the roofers, anybody that works on a house. So there's 45 different categories. It's so funny what you're saying, because I'm looking at this and I go, I'm not going to make money in this model probably for another year. I'm not going to see money, and that's okay. And I know I want to make sure it works. But while I do that, my background is in digital marketing, and I have great connections with SEO. And by the way, your class that I took, some of the tips that you gave me on local SEO and things like that, and those links, I'm using those right now. So
Koala AI.
Yes.
Yeah, use Koala AI.
So I said, let me start a media. So it's called homeserve.media. So it's a media company, HomeServe Media, just home service business. So I'm trying to relate it to what you just said. So the spinoff is I'm dealing with, as I'm building this, I'm going to say non-revenue platform right now for the first year, I'm in touch with all these business owners and that are the AC companies, the painters, the home service industries. And now I have this spin-off that I started, which is an agency doing the podcasts, the SEO, local SEO, and just doing the agency type services. And is that a similar model of how I'm spinning that off and doing that as a standalone? It's not the same thing, but it's the same clients I'm talking to. What do you think? Is that a good model how I did that?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
Yeah, I would recommend anybody silo their initiatives, even if it's the same exact names on the partnerships, so that you don't have questions of ownership and questions of other questions later. This is something I learned very well in crypto, actually, because part of my experience was to launch a whole bunch of tokens, products, and services in the early crypto and blockchain industries. So when you do that, it's another level. People think it's hard to set up a Delaware corporation or to find out what structure is best. Is it an S corp or an LLC? No. In crypto, by nature, everybody has like a triangle involved. There's 3 entities from the beginning. You know, you might need to go to the Cayman Islands, you might need to go to Dubai, you might need to go to Singapore, and the right jurisdictions and domiciles always change. But my point here is it's really important to structure things properly, but also not stress about it. So yeah, on the other hand, exactly. If the structuring and the ownership and all this stuff is affecting your speed, then you know the partnership itself doesn't work. And this is where I want to share another tactical thing, which people would disagree about, I'm sure. But basically, lawyers are deal killers. If you involve a lawyer as your partner, or if you involve a lawyer as like a setup stage 0 to 1 participant, then you should expect there to be conversations, a lot more conversations about IP, NDA, etc. When the fact is these things are unimportant. Nobody cares about your idea. It's just a concept. And even to venture capitalists, if you walk into an investor's office and say, I want an NDA, they're going to laugh at you.
I was about to say that. What do you do when somebody says, you got to sign this NDA if I'm going to talk to you?
Oh, I just walk away and I know that they're not serious. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's like your first rodeo. Like it's not even a situation you can get mad about or...
Right.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if that happened to us. We'd be like, wow.
Yeah.
I hope they learn some things tomorrow. Like, I hope they watch YouTube and, like, go to startup school.
That's great.
Yeah.
This has been unbelievable. And I have a feeling we might be doing a couple episodes after this, too, because you're just full of incredible value, man. Speaking of value, I just got done with your class, and I want to talk about this. And I know there's a lot more we missed along the way, but I want to talk about this class because how you structured it, and I'm going to tell you this as a case study because I just went through it, and this is, I'm telling you exactly how it is. Everybody in our class, there was 8 of us or so, maybe 10, everybody was fired up. They loved it. They're like, this is, but what I liked about it best was the fact that you had everything, there was no fluff. So normally when you take a class, it's an 8-week program. You know you're going to be in, and we've all done these, and you know, during that one week, you're like, man, you know, that could have been done last week, or that could, you put it all into this, and it's just tons of information. You go through it fast, it's quick, but you get the recordings on it, and the takeaways. Here's, you know, this is a website you can use. So it's not like, oh, I'm just learning something. No, I have actually a URL that I can go to and sign up and use this today, which, by the way, I'm doing. I love that, man. So the takeaway. And then the other thing I liked, and I don't know if I want to mention this now because I don't know how long you're going to leave that price at what it was. But
yeah, it just increased. Now it's $750, but the goal is
that's
higher.
That's still way too low.
I know.
The value of this is, I'm honestly, I'm not exaggerating. It's a $10,000 value I believe I got in, you know, a short amount of time, 2 weeks. And so tell us a little bit about how you came up with it, why you did it, and the future of it.
Yeah, back when I was in college, I was very frustrated that oftentimes business was taught to me by PhDs and academics. And I thought you have to be in field if you want to teach this kind of thing because it truly relies upon firsthand experience. And it's not conceptual philosophy, it's not abstract math. Business is something that affects you, just like fighting. That's why I believe martial arts instructors should only be instructors if they know how to win fights. You know, not knowing katas, not having watched YouTube. So that's my problem here, is I used to want a kind of mentor or instructor who was also a practitioner, and mainly a practitioner. And I wanted somebody who could tell me things that I can implement today, right now, to make money, not some kind of concept to think about because it confuses me. So 10 years into my journey, I finally realized, oh, I've got the black belt. So my dream has always been to be a full stack business developer. What does that mean? A full stack business developer is like a full stack engineer, but it means you can do everything that a business needs by yourself. And I can do that. So to get that black belt, to know how to play the ground game, the stand-up game, everything, it took me more than 10 years, but my goal was 10.
Then you say you can do it, like yourself.
Yeah. Building a website, structuring your business,
do it all.
Paying your taxes, doing copywriting, selling, automating things, building systems, using tools, everything.
And you do it
Making
all.
investments, syndicating deals.
Do you think that's a good idea? Isn't it good to delegate some of the
100%,
stuff?
but I learned how to do it all myself.
Okay.
I think to be an instructor, you got to know how to use all weaponry. So I just learned, I had to learn. But back to your question, my dream was to be a teacher from day one. I really, really love that. So I took a month to build a course that I believe would be of value to people that I would have taken when I was younger, and tested it out. To my great surprise, and also I would say my pleasant surprise, 16 people took the course. Yeah, it felt a lot more intimate actually.
There were 16.
But it was a full Zoom call.
Yeah.
Like you were a major participant, so I think we felt more closeness.
Yeah.
We felt more consistency.
I thought it was just me and you.
Yeah, but there were some people that were doing their work and just being silent.
Yeah, no cameras off.
Yeah. But all 16 have been giving me mid-course and post-course surveys, where the only bad feedback I received is that this thing should be longer and slower. Like, teach me longer and teach me less fast. But here's why I do it in such a fast way and why my system is 7 days. Is because I myself have lived the system that I teach, and 7 days is the optimal number of days. So hear me out. I think every idea deserves only 1 week. If in that week you can't get any validation or traction, drop the idea. If the idea gets traction though, it deserves 1 more week, 2 weeks. But if you don't see potential, then drop it then. People tend to stick with an idea and hold on to it for months, and that is no bueno.
Yeah.
Second thing is when an idea merits conversion into building and selling. So ideation and brainstorming is not money making, it's different. But when you need to convert from that phase into business modeling and go to market, then take a month. I think anybody can give themselves a month and bet on themselves, that's a good time. But after that month, it starts to get bad. You start to hold on to a business model that doesn't work for 2 months, 3 months. Now you're crossing a financial quarter. Now you're crossing half the year. Now next thing you know, it's next year. And so that's why my course is 7 days. That's why everything is a little more than you can take in the hour that's allotted. Everything is a little more than you should be able to do.
It's strategically done that way.
Right, because when I was younger, I would take semester-long experiential education courses, But the experiential education didn't work because I was getting the worst part of Parkinson's law. So Parkinson's law says you're basically going to take the time you allot for anything. If you tell me that I'm going to build a business in an experiential education class in 1 quarter or 1 semester, in my head it's already going to be 3 to 6 months.
Yep.
But if the professor would only come and tell me, make a profit by next week or you get an F, now that would have made me work, you know?
How do you recommend people take their emotions out of it? Because what you're saying is, if I'm hearing it correct, is that first week speed you're talking about, but you believe so much in it. You know it's right. You know, and you're saying if it's almost like if America's voting, not you. If and you're saying, I'm imagining talking to people, right? Getting advice from other people or running, during that first week. But you got to take your emotion out of it, right? You got to say, this is emotionless, and I'm doing it based on. It's hard to do that.
Very hard.
I mean, I find myself with the app that I'm building. I know I need it myself because I'm a homeowner and I have these challenges. But do other people need it? You know, and it's hard to do that because, you know, and tell me if I did the right thing. My testing on it was a lot longer than a week. Unfortunately, it was too long because, again, in my head, that's kind of what it was supposed to be. Is I would go to people that I trusted. I trusted their opinion, and I would say, "Here's what I got." And I had people say, "I don't like this. I like this. But this would be really important." You know, and I made those adjustments. You know, is that enough of a gauge to have just a few, I don't know, a handful, 10 people or so to get that gauge in that short amount of time? In other words, when do you scrap an idea? You know, when do you say, no, let's go move on?
Yeah, so quick tactical lesson here for everybody in the audience.
Yeah.
Validation can be good or bad and also can be misinterpreted. So I've seen situations where my friends get great validation at the validation stage, and it's so good that they feel they should move forward. But when they go to market, the validation is only about pre-signups or wait lists. It's not actually converting into buyer behavior. So I have a friend who lost lots and lots of money doing e-commerce for a year, throwing up landing pages and product videos and demos. And I mean, I even thought it would work. So many people are signing up for the wait list, right? So many people love it.
They were signing up?
But when they launched, the products did not sell. So
how would he have known that?
So my point here is, when you validate, just because your conversations or your experiments go well, don't misinterpret and bank on the fact that people will buy.
So how would that guy fix that example? How would he exit out sooner? Because I mean, everything showed him that it's working. It's going to be good.
Totally. So there are some unknowns. Here's where to be frank, I can't help you. Because everyone needs to make a leap of faith. So I believe that a leap of faith happens way too early in people's lives, where they're like, I got an idea, let's quit a job. No. But after you ideate and brainstorm and talk to some customer personas, after you business model this thing and realize the math works out, after that, you're allowed to make a leap of faith. Nobody knows the future. So what my friend did, I still respect. He was down on his luck for a while, but I told him, hey man, I respect the hell out of you. Because you did the process, you tested and validated, and all signs pointed to the right direction.
Got it.
But the market screwed you. Now you have the experience. But next time, why don't you try and interview a subsection of all these pre-signups
to see if they would pay?
Exactly. You just took everyone's form responses.
So that's the
at face value.
Is take a group of those and say,
and talk
let's
to
just
people.
do a call. And
But that's where the other side of this comes in. So when you talk to your ideal customers, I wonder how many people request of you features. But I see this happen often, where entrepreneurs get feedback and then they start building around those features, but the features only matter to a subsection of people. So then you get bogged down building stuff that doesn't really matter. You know, you're solving individual issues. So that's the other way validation can go wrong, is you do one-to-one conversations and solve problems, but then all these 10, 15 people become your friends and they make personal requests that go into your engineering pipeline, and now the product is something you don't even know anymore. You know, you're just meeting niche demands all over the place.
You're reactive.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is get validation, obviously. Everybody teaches you to get validation, and I will too. But I just want to talk about the bad stuff, because that's what people don't talk about. You know, the crowd may give you the wrong impression. Don't trust the numbers and metrics too straight up. You know, and individuals may tell you to do the wrong things. They may have marching orders for you that solve their problems, but nobody else's. So don't be too empathetic, but also empathize, you know?
So good, man. This is incredible. Really, really good, man.
All learned through my own blood and tears, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I failed more projects than I succeeded. I failed so many times. Every year, like with this system, I get 4 ideas per month and like 12 businesses to run or launch per year. So I have a really high-paced system, but you don't see me on YouTube talking every month about my new startup, right?
Sure.
Like there's way more successes than or failures and successes.
Yeah.
But the system works.
Baseball, you get up 10 times, you get three hits out of 10, you're huge, you're an all-star.
100%.
It's
but
so different.
you always go home to a nice hotel and you have lots of money in your bank account.
Yeah. Well, spoiler alert, you just gave one of the little tips of your class, which is that every week you're trying a different. I mean, I love that. It's speed. It's fast.
Or a different assumption. Sorry to interrupt you, but every week, I mean, sure, we can test a different idea, and I hope you and me can.
Yes.
Maybe in the near future, like you and me can just think of an idea, get on a whiteboard, and then talk on a Friday. Why not?
Yep.
And I do this all the time.
Jamming out, right?
Completely. It's like playing jazz.
Yeah.
But we can also, if the idea is good and we're in the building and selling phase, then we can certainly test each offer or each assumption in the market as an idea. So you and me can say, we assume that CEOs of 5 million plus revenue companies who work in software as a service tech would buy this peer group or this little, leadership boot camp. Mm-hmm. Well, that's an assumption we can test over 1 week. Mm-hmm. Or we say there's an offer for $5,000 for a motivational speaker to come to your company and do this. Mm-hmm. We can test that offer for a week. Mm-hmm. So my point here is that it's not that have a new idea every week.
Got it.
Like even if you're building a business, at least put your offers, your market assumptions, your customer validation initiatives, all of these things into 1 week blocks.
Got it. Oh, I got it.
Because when there's not,
because otherwise it would be too much.
Yeah, I think what people focus on like a start by date and milestone dates. I don't care. I want a quit by date. I calculate everything backwards from a quit by date. And no matter how attached I am, how sad I am, how much people think I'm a failure, or how ashamed I am of my project not succeeding, if there's a quit by date, I follow my own orders.
This is so good, man. And by the way, we're at 50 minutes.
I didn't know.
When Luke came in, I said, hey, 20 minutes is the max. No, that's how good this was, is because it feels like we were here for 10 minutes. And honestly, I can go another 50 minutes, which is why we're going to have another.
we wrap it now. Speed.
We need to do this speed.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of speed, we got to get some coffee together. Another one of those before I have my drive back to Broward. Luke, I can't thank you enough, man. You're a giving person. It's clear. You and I just met, but I feel like I've known you for a long time. I have a feeling we're going to have an awesome, long relationship that is just going to be really special, man. I really do. Appreciate everything you've done today for the class, and I'm excited to spread the word about you and what you're doing and giving back, because your time is valuable, and you clearly I thought it was 6 people, or I thought it was me and you in the class, but there was 16 others, and you gave everybody the ability to reach out to you, have a one-to-one with you, do a jam session with you, as you refer to it, and that says a lot about your character, man. Is to give back like that is awesome. So I appreciate it, man, and let's keep this going.
Thank you so much. I feel the same. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, brother. That was great, man.